So greetings, everybody. This is Linda Kopecki. I am the Interim Executive Director of the Minnesota Breastfeeding Coalition. And I'm welcoming you to the kickoff for the 90-day challenge. This is very exciting. We've been leading up to this for a few months now. We'll give you the overview of the challenge. We'll walk you through how to do the different activities like sign up for the challenge kit to be sent to you, view resources, all that. But first I want to do a few introductions. So I'm with the Minnesota Breastfeeding Coalition. I've been here just over 2 years now. So 2 years and 1 month I've been the director. And I also want to introduce Pa Shasky. Pa, would you like to introduce yourself really quickly? And then we'll introduce the rest of the Place and Childcare subcommittee that are on here.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Pa Shasky. I wear many hats. My full-time job is with Ramsey County with the SHIP grant. But for this purpose, for the 90-day challenge purposes, I am the communications and resource staff. And so you guys will be hearing a lot from me after this. And so welcome.
Thanks. I also want to ask the members of the Workplace and Childcare Subcommittee, if you could, we have a few on this roundtable, if you could just unmute yourself really quickly and show your camera and just say a quick hello so people know who you are. Thank you. And you can just go as you want to.
I can go first. I'm Gretchen Etzler, Anoka County Public Health.
Thank you. Let's see, Karen and Laura, I know you're there too. You want to introduce yourselves?
Laura, you are on mute.
Sorry about that. I have been in the past on the board, and I was on the Worksite and Child Care Committee throughout the time I've been involved with MBC, which was starting in about 2016. And we've evolved and made some changes and have a lot of things to talk about in that committee.
Thank you. It's nice to have a nice mix of seasoned and new on the subcommittee. It makes it really interesting. Karen, do you want to just say hello to everybody? I don't know. Did she step away from the computer? Oh, there you go.
Hi, everyone. Karen Nitskorsky from Partnership for Health, and I'm sitting on that committee now. Sorry.
That's fine. And there are a couple who are not here. One is Jessica Miller. She had a family emergency, but she's the chair of the subcommittee. And then Mary Cameron, I don't think is on this call. And she's a community member representing the Twin Cities Regional Breastfeeding Coalition. She also has quite a bit of personal background in human resources, which is a great addition to the subcommittee. So we're just going to get started. We are recording, and we'll have this recording available for.
I just want to say hi too. So. Oh,
hi, Janie. Do you want to please tell us your role with NBC, and then Kim Welbert too.
I am a board member and a lactation consultant in Central Minnesota. But yeah, I'm on a board. I'm on a lot of subcommittees with doing all sorts of things with the NBC as well.
And you are the chair-elect, so you will be the chair of NBC in 2023. And we have our current board chair on here too, I think. Kim, are you there?
I am. Good morning, or actually good afternoon, everyone. I'm the chair for the NBC. I'm also an RN IBCLC at Childcare St. Cloud Hospital in the NICU.
Thank you. So we're going to get started, and I just have to say, all of this is thanks to a generous grant from the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. We wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be able to have Pashasky as our contracted specialist working on this. We wouldn't be able to collect all these resources and send them out to you without the generous gifts from the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. So thank you to them. Okay, so first of all, I just want to cover this really quickly. Now, I've worked in setting up breastfeeding friendly environments, lactation friendly environments for a long time, and in Colorado and in Minnesota. And I just, I've boiled it down to some essentials. Other people can say these are not the essentials, that they have different essentials, but in my perspective, these are the essentials. And I just want to frame our conversation with these. When you're working with workplace and childcare, you need to make sure it's relevant. If you're working with an organization, a business, a childcare setting, updating and improving policies and practices needs to be relevant. And for each organization, it's going to be a different point of relevance. It could be the right thing to do. It could be because they have a specific employee they want to support. It could be because they need to follow the law. But finding that point of relevance is important. Finding internal champions and equipping those internal champions in the organizations to do their best work. So if no matter the decision-making level, making sure those champions can provide some leadership and provide motivation within that organization. That's different from ownership. Ownership is really about being able to make decisions. So allowing the organization to make as many of the decisions as possible. Their breastfeeding friendly, lactation friendly environment needs to fit their culture, needs to fit how they communicate. It needs to fit how they want to portray themselves to the community. So having the organization really take charge and make as many of the decisions as possible is critical. Make this easy. A lot of you have worked with workplaces and childcare and employees, and nobody wants to start from square one. Nobody wants to write that lactation policy. They want a template. Nobody wants to just find all the trainings themselves. They want a training given to them. So make it easy. Also, good practices are very important, but putting them on paper in policy and guidelines will allow them to last a lot longer. And then work locally, which is why we have you here. We can have a designation at the state level. We can have resources at the state level, but that's not where all the work happens. The work happens right where you are. It happens on your main street. It happens in your offices. It happens in your community. That's where you know the folks who are the champions, you know, the organizations that need to do a little bit better, you know, the employees that are really struggling getting their pregnancy accommodations or getting their time and space. So this is the 90-day challenge. What is it? So number one, it's an opportunity for Minnesota Breastfeeding Coalition to develop a clearinghouse of materials and methods. And we've already started the resource bank is live, and we'll be going through that near the end of this conversation. But it's also an opportunity to invite our local coalitions just to get a start on using some different materials. And it doesn't have to be coalitions. If you're a part of a collective, and it could be a community-based organization, I'm thinking of like the African American Babies Coalition or the Birth Equity Community Council or Diva Moms. Those are all from Ramsey County where I live. And you can think of other community-based organizations in your area. That's a collective that can participate in the 90-day challenge. Your breastfeeding coalition, your lactation coalition, definitely participate in the 90-day challenge. If you are an individual out there doing this on your own and you don't have a group, please find a group and we'll help you find a group. This is for collectives. And we invite you to try new things. So accepting the challenge, this is no risk. So just signing up to receive a challenge kit does not mean you're obligated to do anything at all. You can do some work in your community with work sites and childcare and earn points, or you don't have to. So it's not like you're adopting a puppy Okay, so this is no risk. It's very, very low risk, and it's no obligations. You're not adopting a puppy. Actually, this is supposed to be fun. So we want this to be an opportunity to use new materials, try new methods, be motivated and excited, and get to know some of your employers and some of your community members a little bit better. And I'm going to pass this over to Pa to talk about the time frame.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda. So as Linda said, you know, by ordering a free challenge kit, it does not mean that you are like committing to, oh my gosh, every week our coalition or my group has to do something. At the same time, you could, you know, maybe your group is very gung-ho about getting a jump start on breastfeeding friendly promotion. And so you get everything done within the first 2 weeks. That's great. You get 90 days to work on it, but you know, or let's say you just get bombarded with life and with COVID response and everything else that all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, I have this 90-day challenge kit and it's sitting here, and now we're well into April. You know, you could do it the last 2 weeks. So however the timeline matches up with your group's priorities is what we want you to work with. So again, like Linda said, very flexible, it should be very fun. As you complete different submissions and different activities, and we'll talk a little bit about that towards in the middle of this presentation, but just keep in mind, as you complete activities, MBC will tally how many points you get along the way, okay? And the timeline is today, January 31st until April 30th. So that's the 90 days. Materials will continuously be added to our resource bank. And again, we will take a look at the resource bank shortly after this. And then every Wednesday, a new resource from the resource bank will be highlighted just to help navigate the choppy waters of all the different resources that we have. And then twice monthly, we will hold what is called office hours. And so these office hours, we don't have determined dates yet, but they will be, and Linda, jump in if I'm wrong, but they will be predetermined set dates and time. And these office hours are for you and your partners to jump on and ask whatever questions you may have. You guys could come and learn from one another. Of course, office hours are in addition to regular technical assistance that you will get if you just email us as well.
Mm-hmm. And the folks who will be your experts at office hours, or the professors, I guess, they are members of the Workplace and Childcare Subcommittee. And so these are folks who have been doing this work for quite a while. Pashasky has been working in this field for quite a while through SHIP. Gretchen Etzler has been working in Anoka County, primarily with childcare providers, but other organizations too. Karen Niskortsky has a deep background in working with employers. Laura Deck has a long history working on this committee. Mary Cameron has a deep history of working in human resources. So we have a nice bench of experts here that can be available during the office hours, and you just drop in, and we'll have the links available, and a couple times a month, and you just drop in, and we'll problem solve and work through some sticky wickets. So what happens after April? Does the world just stop? No. So we are going to, at the end of the 90 days, we'll tally the points, and we'll celebrate those organizations that have done really, really well. So we have we can send out up to 50 challenge kits. So we know that there are about 25 coalitions in Minnesota. So we're definitely hoping for other groups like community-based organizations or other types of collectives or other types of coalitions to sign on. We can send up to 50 challenge kits out, and just tallying points. We'll show you how to log your points. And then what did they get? So up to about 25 of the participating collectives will receive money for Breastfeeding Awareness Month, August, and that could be Black Breastfeeding Week or breastfeeding World Breastfeeding Week, you know, whatever you want to do. And it's the top point earner gets $500, no strings attached. We send you a check. And then the other point earners will receive $250 or $100. And it's just for your group to celebrate breastfeeding in August. For some of the top point earners, MBC will provide facilitated strategic planning. We've done this with one coalition already to great effect, and it's about a total of 15 hours on our end that we provide strategic planning for your collective. Some of the top point earners will receive free event registration for our workshops. And then some will receive some of the MBC t-shirts. We have new t-shirts and we have new onesies. So that's also part of the awards. We will spotlight the amazing work and activities and champions in the Minnesota Breastfeeding Coalition newsletter and on our social media. And then finally, we'll just continue to create that resource bank. And right now it's on Wild Apricot. That's our internal website. So it's not our main MBC website. It's actually our internal website. So you have to go through through a wormhole to get there, but we'll show you how. And that we'll just continue to collect that and to make sure that it's available and that we've filled all the gaps of resources. We expect you to identify some of the gaps too. And then your next steps. So order a challenge kit, look through the resources, and then talk to your coalition or your collective. So we're going to look at the resource. We're going to look at ordering the challenge kit and then look at resources now, but please, are there any questions first? And feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions or comments right away. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to put in the chat a link, and this is where you're going to order your challenge kit. And that link takes you right here. This is the MBC store. So you'll see this looks a little bit different from our main website. It's Wild Apricot. That's sort of our internal intranet. It's where event registration. It's where we have our store. It's where we have the resource bank. So I'll just walk you through how you do this. So you can buy t-shirts or onesies, but you can also get the challenge kit and it doesn't cost anything. So you click here on the challenge kit. And do you all see this? I just want to make sure. Yes, you do. Good. So you can order one, add to your cart. And these are some things that are in the challenge kit. We have window clings, door hangers. This is the blueprint from NACHA, the continuity of care blueprint. And we had this printed and bound, and each collective will receive one of those. We have more things in the challenge kit and I'll add them to this. One thing I didn't mention is you'll have a thumb drive with all of your resources. On that thumb drive, there will be a voucher for $100. And you can use $100 for whatever you need to fuel your activities. And it could be, maybe you want to buy lunch for a training of employers. Maybe you want to print something specific to your location. But there's $100 for each of you, for each of your collectives to just use as you want. And you just have to request it and we'll send you a check. So I have one, I've ordered one. I added to my cart and I'm going to view my cart. Oh, I guess I didn't. Okay, so add to my cart. There we go. Now view my cart. I'm going to, that looks good. I'm going to proceed to checkout. I'm already in the system, so it's already auto-filled my information. If you're not in the system, then you'll need to fill this, continue. And I want you to pick this second shipping option, free. So the grant pays for shipping. And then you'll need to put your address, mailing address in here. And then that's it. And then you just submit it and you have your challenge kit. So, oh, good, Maggie, thank you. You started your challenge kit, good. So I'm glad. So it's very, very easy. So the link is in the chat. Order your challenge kit now. That's really the first step to entering. And then Paul, I'm going to show the resource bank so you can walk us through that.
Linda, can you actually, instead of going here, can you actually go to the Squarespace MBC and then people can, yes. So we show them how they can get to the 90-day challenge. Thank you.
I'm just putting in the chat. I'm putting the link right to the resource thing. So, okay, so this is the MBC. This is the MBC website, as you know. Of course, we have our t-shirts right there on the top. But right here, you see this banner on top, you can click here. That's one place you can go to get to the resource bank. Also, if you scroll down on this homepage, click on the breastfeeding friendly workplaces, and it's right there. This link gets you to that resource.
The wild apricot page.
And then this QR code, actually, you can look at this QR code now if you want. You can actually view it on your phone. This QR code is for submitting your materials. We want you to add some things to the resource bank. It gets you to an online form. We also really want champions. We want to interview your champions. Who has successfully navigated getting their time and space for working? Which employer has done an amazing job? Which employer has really evolved? We want to interview them. We'll provide compensation to them for their story. And then we want to share a recording of their story. And also this is the QR code. Use this to log your activities. We will keep a tally of your points throughout the 90 days.
So to clarify, Linda, they get points by these 3 activities, right? Submitting materials to the resource bank is one. The second one is identifying a champion. And then the third one is activities that you and your group or your coalition has done. So it could be, hey, we hosted an info session for a group of employers, or we hosted a lunch and learn for a group of childcare providers. So those are the 3 different types of activities that you will get tally points for.
Yep, yep. And if you, it's a 1 point per point of contact. So if you provided materials to 10 childcare providers, it would be, but each of them got 3 materials each. So it'd be 3 materials times 10 childcare providers equals 30. So it's for each point of contact. And all of that will be explained later. So the main page is right here. This is what's in the chat. So Pa, I'll just, you steer me through this.
Perfect. Okay, so this is our growing resource pages, our resource bank. When you come to this landing page, you'll see across the second row on the top, you'll see assessment and outreach materials, education and training, employee outreach, and breastfeeding friendly. One thing I will say is some of the resources are repeated in a few of these different categories. And so like, you know, maybe there's an assessment tool in the materials in that first section, but then maybe in employee outreach, that same assessment tool pops up. We try to make this as easy as possible for you guys. So you don't have to search through all 4 to be able to find a resource that you may be looking for. We try to put the resources into the sections that they could be useful in. So there might be repeated information in here. Linda, go ahead and click on one. whichever
Also,
one.
there is a photo gallery too. So that's not reflected in these rectangles, but you can also access the different pages from this drop-down menu, but there's also a photo gallery. So let's start with assessments. And
Perfect, thank you. Yep, and if you were to pull up this resource bank on your phone or your mobile device, they will be stacked nicely so that you can see the different columns. So it is mobile friendly. If you look here and you see an assessment that's not, if you know of an assessment that's not on here, then we hope that you will email us or submit it to us so that we can upload it here and share with the rest of the group. Things that you have or things that you know exist, but is not posted yet. Some of these resources are templates that you can actually download and then use, adapt it and put your own logos, your own coalition on it. Some of them are just more examples. So it varies. We have videos, we have toolkits, we have assessments, websites. Let's see here. Anything else, Linda?
No, I just want to say that there's also resources that we have are not just from coalitions, but they're also from like the Department of Labor. Over here on the right, you'll see the trifold brochures, English, Spanish, Hmong, and Somali from the Department of Labor. We have resources from New Hampshire, from Boulder County, Colorado. That's where I used to work. So we have resources from all over. And if you know about a resource that's one of your favorite resources, it doesn't have to be something you created, but maybe something that you really like, please send that to us. We may have it already, we may not have it already, but we want to make sure this is a complete collection of resources.
Thank you. And then if you go down to the bottom, there's methodology. And this part, Linda and I were thinking we would like to find best articles about best practices or research about best practices when it comes to, different assessment tools that you could use. And so we're hoping that we'd be able to get some literature content and that will go underneath methods. But if you're looking for resources that you can quick print out and adapt and use right away, they will be listed above. So then if we go to coaching, education, and training, again, videos, sample policies. This is, again, if you're trying to coach and educate employers or childcare providers, maybe you want to, educate the coalition some more on what it could look like. This would be where you go to find that information. Again, as resources and groups start pouring in and sharing their resources, this will be updated. So I would recommend you check maybe once a week at the least. These are our standing resources. And so as soon as I get a new resource, I'll put a little notation by it so that you know that it's new, so that if you're visiting these pages regularly, you'll be able to open it up and see, oh, here's a new one, so that you don't have to scan everything again. Linda, do you want to add anything here? Anything else?
Videos, I just want to let you know that we'll have 3 new videos coming, and actually all of them will be in 4 languages. So part of our grant with the Minnesota Department of Labor is to create 3 new videos. So maybe the Know Your Rights videos that we have, or that collection is going to be the same videographer and media specialist. And we have a team. We have a community advisors working on this right now. The 3 new videos, one will be about pregnancy accommodations. The second one will be about how the workplace laws have changed a little bit with that the employer cannot dock your pay for the time that you're taking to pump, and it's slightly complicated. So we're going to turn that into a video by explaining that if your lactation break is during a paid break, then you need to be paid for that time. It'll all be explained. And then the third one is walking you through the complaint process, because we know that there are plenty of employers that are not in compliance with providing time and space or pregnancy accommodations. So it's going to be a step-by-step in English, Hmong, Spanish, and Somali of walking through that complaint process. We've had a lengthy interview with investigators at the Department of Labor and Industry, and they're very excited about demystifying this process too. So stay tuned for a video that will just make it so easy and hopefully more comfortable for employees to get support when they're not getting their time and space. Let's go to the next one.
Awesome, thank you. Next one, outreach to employees. And so this is kind of like where the rubber meets the ground, right? It's like if your coalition is ready and you're like, oh man, we're ready to like get some employers, we're gonna, help provide TA for employers to start becoming like breastfeeding friendly. What are we gonna do? How are we going to help them? How do we help them reach their employees and their staff? This is the main resource page. So if you look at the resource page and how we set it up, the first one you go to is like the very basics, like basics of breastfeeding, right? Education, outreach basics. The next one's a little bit more advanced about policy work. How does that translate? There's some videos. And then this one is like, if your group is further along and you're ready to like, make things happen, create lactation spaces, this would be where you want to come to, this landing page. We want to also be able to add in a little bit more education and coaching around using social media or using communication methods. So that will be coming soon as well. Again, if you have tried and true methodologies of how we can really help employers and childcare providers like really make changes, sustainable PSE changes, this is where we would hope that you'd send your resource to us so we can plug it in here. And then of course, the last page is helping those employers and childcare providers become breastfeeding friendly, recognized through MDH's assessment and their progress. We also will be putting ongoing training and assessments here, so keep checking back, as I don't think any of the trainings right now on here is time sensitive, but if there are things that are coming up and you know about it and you would like to put it here, we would love to announce it here with the ongoing trainings or having their recorded webinars listed here. And then Linda, I will turn the time to you to talk about the childcare training for childcare professionals.
Thank you. So this one right here is training for childcare professionals, and this is actually brand new. This is a training that the Workplace and Childcare Subcommittee worked on with Childcare Aware Minnesota, and their training platform, which is ready to learn or eager to learn. And it's a 2-hour recorded training. So it's a little complicated because you do need to you have to log in. So you have to develop a profile. And this is, and I don't want to turn anybody off to accessing this training, but this is for childcare professionals. This is a free profile that you create, and it just so that Childcare Aware can provide that childcare professional the continuing education or the professional development points that they are earning by taking this 2-hour training. So that's why you need to create a profile, and the childcare professionals that we're working with, many of them already have a profile because they're so used to accessing trainings through Childcare Aware that they already have a profile. Many of us do not, because we may not be professional childcare providers. But so that's one resource that's exciting and new, but it also takes a couple extra steps. But we made sure that this training was free. I'm going to stop sharing right now and just see if there are any questions, and then we're going to go into an interactive activity about this, because this is a roundtable. So we're talking to each other and not just us talking to you. So any thoughts first before we go to the next activity?
Hi, this is Laura Greensmith with Northland Breastfeeding Coalition in Northern Minnesota. First of all,
Hello.
hi. Well, my first impression is that this is amazing and very, very exciting. Yeah, I can see a lot of work has gone into this, and we're excited about it. One quick question, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly. One of the members of our coalition from a health system, one of the hospitals, was wondering, they asked, they said, well, you know, should I get my own challenge kit? Can we get more than one? Should we do it all together? And so I said I would ask here. So I'm just kind of thinking of that question. And also, you know, obviously most coalitions comprise numerous organizations, you know, including WIC through the public health systems and then hospitals. So am I understanding correctly that you prefer that we all kind of do this together as one coalition with one kit, or can people do it separately?
Good question. So the goal of this is to bring people together to work on this. So if it makes sense in your community for that hospital system, if they're already a part of the coalition and you're working as a coalition, feel free to, we encourage that collective to be working together. If that really is a separate collective, maybe it's a group that works specifically with people from the Fond du Lac Reservation, potentially, you know, or maybe it's an organization that works in a specific part of your area. You know, if it feels like a different collective, then maybe it makes sense to order 2 different challenge kits. You can always order more materials, and we'll be able to send them more materials to you free. So if you want more door hangers, if you want more window clings, after the initial challenge kits go out, we can send more to you. But we want this to be a way to connect with your other partners. And we know there are areas in Minnesota that are not represented by coalitions. So who would make sense in that area to be working on this? Would it be an organization that sort of like a maternal and child health support organization in your community? If you don't have a coalition, maybe it would be WIC that would be the backbone, but definitely collaborate. So Laura, does this answer your question at all?
Yes, it does actually. Thank you. Nope, it makes sense. And I think it makes sense that we would all order together because they are a part of our coalition. And then that's good to know, like, yeah, if we just needed more specific materials that we could get those, like if they wanted more window clings or whatnot. So yeah, that definitely answers my question. Thank you.
And I know like up in Northland, there's that regional coalition, but then there's maybe smaller county specific coalitions. So that's really up to those groups. You know, if you want to do it by county specific coalitions, or you want to do it as a regional coalition. This is just kind of getting folks communicating and saying, how do we do this work? Do we do this work as a collective? Do we do this work as separate collectives? Are we really meeting the needs of separate audiences or separate communities? So Maggie had a question, is there, if you've previously created material shared as a resource, yes, please. If you have any material that you've created that's not in the resource bank, please submit it. So that QR code is where you can use that to access that form to submit your materials. So definitely, thank you. If you have any go-to resource that you really love, please submit it. Any more questions? I want to go to the next activity. Okay, I put in the section in the chat section for the next activity, the Padlet. Some of you know that I really like Padlet. This is my favorite, or one of my favorite online platforms, virtual platforms for interaction. So what you do is you click on that link and you can come to the Padlet. What you see on your screen here is my view of the Padlet. And we're going to go through the different sections of resources, and I want your ideas. So I want your ideas, like, this is how I would use it, or I need this kind of assessment, or we've already done this kind of assessment. So let's start talking about assessment. So click on the little plus sign under the column head, which is assessments. And then you just need to, in the subject, you just write something about, what do you need? What do you want to do? What do you hope to do? What do you have as a resource? What's your question? Let's comment on assessments, please. And you can unmute yourself. You can put something in the chat. If Padlet is, if this technology is above your pay grade, that's fine. Feel free to put something in the chat. I know that this is not for everybody, but this is a way to be interactive. So I see several people are in Padlet, and to be able to add something, you need to click on publish or click outside of the window that you're submitting something in. So I'm gonna, okay, good. So this person says, we have worked with some businesses, organizations in the past, but could be doing more. And so I also want to invite you, if you think that's a good idea, you can click on the little heart, which is to like it, or you can comment. You can click on the little comment and you can comment on these. So if somebody has a question, maybe you have an answer for their question. But feel free to add more comments on assessments. We'll be going through the different sections. I'm going to take a sip of tea. And feel free to unmute yourself too, if you have comments about assessments. I'm wondering, Pa, did you want to comment on the Hmong Breastfeeding Coalition assessment that was done recently?
Yeah, I can, yes. So with the assessment, it comprised of 3-4 different facet of information. You will find on the resource bank, there is the Hmong Breastfeeding Coalition environmental scan that's on there that you'll see, but one component of the assessment. So it's a pretty wholesome assessment in the sense that we did an assessment for Hmong breastfeeding families living here in the Twin Cities. The first one was an online survey that we collected only in English, talked about, thoughts about breastfeeding before they were, during pregnancy, support systems that they might have had, did they meet their breastfeeding goals? So that's what the survey covered. And then the next part to the assessment was a landscape analysis of like the programs and services that are available to Hmong families that are Hmong centric. And so we looked at that, found out, not to anybody's surprise, there was no lactation support in those organizations and community backings. And so, to see that, and then we did a search on lactation support here in the metro area. And of course, to nobody's surprise, there isn't any Hmong specific or cultural specific support in lactation when it comes to Hmong families with those lactation services. And so that was the second part of the assessment. And then the third part of the assessment was we collected some stories. And so we wanted to get, oral storytelling is a big, it's a big part in the Hmong community. And so gathering breastfeeding stories, whether it was from 2 years ago, 2 months ago, or 15 years ago, but trying to really understand like the breastfeeding story around their thoughts and decision making of when they were on maternity leave, and then their decision of around breastfeeding when they had to return back to work, and what transpired. And so that's a bigger assessment, I would say, having a lot more components. Assessments could simply also be kind of smaller, pared down to maybe location specific about how many staffing or employees an organization may have, any policy, looking at their policies and existing practices. So I think assessments can kind of range from being very site specific and small to being bigger and more comprehensive based off of the population or the community that you want to work with. Back to you, Linda. You're on mute.
Thank you. There's lots of really good comments here. So feel free to scroll up and down. And then, okay, good. Sample pictures too. Definitely there is you'll see the photo gallery on the resource bank. And we can add more photos there. You can always submit lots of photos. I'm going to do the next one, which is outreach. So I invite you to start commenting on outreach. So that was the first one was assessments. I'm going to continue to look at this because there's some great comments and great ideas. By the way, all of these comments on this Padlet will be saved in a PDF, and we'll post that on the 90-day challenge page. So you can, and others can look at these comments and get ideas or see what questions were asked. So feel free to add to the outreach section your questions. How do you think you'll use outreach? Who do you need to do outreach to? Who have you done outreach to? Okay, that's really good. A community assessment on breastfeeding spaces policies for fast food restaurants and hotels. Yes, those are some of the hardest sectors for employees to get their time and space and their accommodations and pregnancy accommodations too. So, and if anybody wants to work with us to create an assessment, if you need help creating an assessment like that, an assessment that's specific for fast food restaurants, please let us know. Our team is more than happy to help you create an assessment. So sample ideas for simple outreach when human resource professionals are swamped with COVID response. Absolutely. Sample email template for outreach. These are good ideas, Pa. I'm thinking about some more templates and resources that we can produce. Good. Continue to add.
For my fellowship staff out there, I did comb through Basecamp's childcare documents and Basecamp's workplace wellness and pulled out what I thought would be relevant to lactation work. But if I missed one, if you know of one that I didn't get to, feel free to send it to us and we'll stick it in there as well into the resource bank so folks can see.
Okay, I'm going to add another section, but keep on adding your thoughts, your ideas, your questions, what you think you need, what you have done. The next one is education. So educating, how do you provide information? How do you provide education to different businesses? What do you need? And others, I think this one about making that first connection is really a big one. How do you make that first connection? I think that's, what is the best? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? I think using your connections is going to be important. Using others' connections is important. Also, and not just others in your coalition, but what about others in your health department, others in your organization? What about your family connections, your particular community connections? Under education, keep re-educating, right? So it's ongoing. The idea of short videos of the most updated information so you can share as part of a presentation or meeting. That's a good idea, Pa. We can probably put together little mini videos and share them about the different resources. Exactly. So QR codes, electronic links. So when we send you the challenge kit, we thought at first we were going to send you a whole bunch of paper, but we chose not to. Actually, what we're sending in the challenge kit are door hangers, window clings, a thumb drive with all of the resources, a voucher for $100. But also we're sending you a spiral bound and printed copy of the National Association for County and City Health Officials of their blueprint. I don't know if you want to pull up the blueprint and then share the blueprint really quickly so we can show folks what that is. But the blueprint is a really helpful tool and is sort of the update to the Surgeon General's report. It's the blueprint developed by National Association for County and City Health Officials and the United States Breastfeeding Committee on what it means for full continuity of care. So you will see a very simple handout for employees to give to their employer. We're also in the challenge kits, we're sending you Department of Labor brochures. So the Department of Labor brochures will definitely be in the challenge kits that you get. So the next one is coaching and training. So some of you have done training with employers, or you've done coaching, like coaching, I'm meaning going for a site visit and looking around for a lactation space and coaching them in how to set up a lactation space, or coaching them in how to create communication with employees about their rights and about accessing their accommodations or their time and space. So love your ideas on coaching and training. I'm gonna put a couple more sections up.
Okay, you ready to preview the blueprint?
Yeah. So this is the blueprint is it's an 89-page document, and we've printed and bound it for you, and each group will get a copy of the blueprint. Oh, is that it?
This is just a preview, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see that there are different pages to it. Breastfeeding, community health improvement, policy systems, environmental changes. Community-driven breastfeeding initiatives.
Mm-hmm. Do you have can you show the front of the blueprint? Oh, look, there's the Hmong Breastfeeding Coalition.
Yeah, so these are all of the different projects that were done, which is exciting. Okay, yes.
And then
so this is the front of it. Okay.
Thank you. Excellent. So feel free to add coaching and training ideas. So this comment is interesting. I love all the resources available, though it may be overwhelming to review all the resources. I'm wondering if a simple checklist that outlines the must-know info. Is that must-know for coalitions or must-know for workplaces? There's definitely a self-assessment. You'll see on the assessment page, there's a self-assessment for employers, and it's a pretty simple checklist. So you'll see on the resource pages that there are some checklists.
I think this also goes back to we broke the resource bank up into different pages so that you can really hone in on like what you're looking for. So are you looking for, like, again, very basic breastfeeding benefits 101, that's usually like the very first outreach educational stuff. If you're a little bit further along and you're a little more advanced in what you've done or what you want to try to do next, we try to list those pages, and we threw in resources that we think would be relevant to those stages that coalitions may be at when it comes to promoting and implementing lactation support.
Any thoughts about coaching and training or actually reaching employees? And reaching employees is also a significant part of this work, because we can do all the work, possible with organizations and childcare providers and business owners and HR, but if employees are still struggling to get their time and space, if they don't know what their rights are, if they don't know who can help them advocate for their time and space or their pregnancy accommodations, then there may not be any meeting in the middle. I mean, I've encountered many folks who told me they stopped breastfeeding before they went back to work because they just knew they weren't going to be supported. They had never had that conversation, and they didn't know who could actually support them in advocating for their time and space. I like that. A guide for supervisors and administrators about the best way to promote the time and space and accommodations. So sharing before maternity leave. That's a really, that's a great idea. It's nice. Any others that you can see or think of? So we have 1 minute left. I'm going to keep this up, and I'm going to stop sharing because I just want to say thank you to everybody. And I'm really glad you're here. Order your challenge kit, accept the challenge. We'll be sending those out this week. We have 50 challenge kits that we can send out. So I think there's probably about 35 left because I think I've seen 15 orders come through. And any final questions or comments before we wrap this up?
Just a big thank you, Linda.
Oh, this is fun work. I have to say that so I did this for years in Colorado, and the opportunity to get this grant and to do this, I feel like I'm applying all of the lessons learned during that time in Colorado. And that we're doing things that I wish we could have done. For example, rewarding effort. It's not just getting to the finish line. It's not about how many businesses are breastfeeding friendly. It's about how many people have you talked to? How many resources have you sent out? How many employees have you helped advocate for their time and space? It's about every little effort. So I'm really glad to be able to do that here.
And thanks to Pa also for taking this work on.
Thanks, Karen. It's been fun. It's a good learning project.
Okay, so thanks everybody. I'm going to stop recording and we'll end the meeting. Thanks everybody.